Appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's your boy Gabos. We back another one. Remember, subscribe is the vibe, my boy. Your boy's on the road to 4K. Humbly. We got the most brutal life sentences of 2022/2023 because people haven't stopped going to jail nowadays. You already know what I'm saying? You know how trends come and go in today's society? Like one day it's the mannequin challenge, and then you got the cart challenge where people were walking on crates just to see if they could do it without busting their ass. The one trend that blows my mind that I just don't know why this trend hasn't ceased is life sentences. All I need to see is one person go to jail for the rest of his life for me to be like, nah, that ain't it. Nah. It's like mofos don't learn lessons from other people's mistakes. I just don't get it. It's like sometimes I be thinking to myself, well, this life sentence was avoidable. But it's something about freedom that just itches. It bothers people. Having the option to do whatever it is you want, be wherever it is you want, talk to whoever you want, it just bothers people. People get bored of being free. So as a result, life sentences will never go out of trend. Life sentences is something that blows my mind how it continuously gets handed out. I'm talking about annually. There's about 400 life sentences around the country dished out. And I'm like, damn, bro, freedom bothering you that much? But we got the most brutal life sentences of 2022. Let's react to some of these people's mistakes and hopefully, just hopefully, some of us can learn something.
Sure. It's probably not a bad idea.
Are we on mute anyway, so I can say whatever the I want?
We're not on mute.
Oh, okay.
Kimberly Kessler, a woman of many identities, was charged with first-degree murder. In May 2018, it was announced that Jolene Cummings, a mother of 3, had gone missing, but her corpse had never been located.
Damn.
However, in December, a jury decided that Kessler was responsible for her death and deemed her guilty. But there were some discrepancies here.
I want to get rid of the public defender's office. Yeah, exactly. Jordan Beard is Johnson's nephew. Jordan Beard is Jolie's cousin.
However, Judge James Daniel wasn't having any of it and said that the punishment will be carried out regardless of whether or not it was necessary. The court first ruled that Kessler lacked the mental capacity to stand trial, but then clarified that she was able to comprehend the
You know how sometimes you could just see people, you know what I mean, and just tell that they off a little bit? She gets me off. I don't know what it is, but she gets me off.
Allegations that were being made against her. Kessler refused to take part in the trial and caused multiple scenes in the courtroom.
Everybody will remain here much longer.
We may want to put her on mute while we finish this, Judge. That's fine.
Let's just put me back on myself.
Ma'am, come back.
Jordan Beard is Jolie Cummings' cousin.
Kimberly Kessler was found guilty of murdering Jolene Cummings and will spend the rest of her life behind bars for this crime without the possibility of parole.
So I've been assured she'll be on the first bus tomorrow out of town.
Done.
And when she leaves, we're gonna have cake and ice cream.
You will conclude there's no way all that stuff could happen to a person who is innocent and falsely accused. The only reasonable explanation is the defendant is guilty.
Martise Fuller was arrested for a list of charges: first-degree intentional homicide, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, and burglary with a dangerous weapon.
Ex-girlfriend?
Fuller was responsible for the shooting that resulted in the death of his 15-year-old ex-girlfriend, Kaylee Juga, and the critical injury of her mother, Stephanie Juga.
Martise Fuller broke down.
This is the shit I ain't got no patience for, bro. This is the shit I ain't got no patience for. You killed your ex-girlfriend and then attempted to kill her mother, and you out here I just, some things just be leaving me so speechless sometimes. It's like I just don't got no words, because I guarantee you this shit was avoidable.
After a jury found him guilty of killing Kaylee Juga and attempting to kill her mother Stephanie in May 2019.
According to the prosecution, Fuller placed the responsibility for his dismissal from school and banishment from the football team on Kaylee and Kaylee's mother.
Police only found the gun because Dontrell Seymour led them to it, in a sewer in Racine County.
The prosecution referred to Fuller's intimate knowledge of the Juga house and Kaylee's daily routine. In their house, Kaylee was killed instantly after receiving 5 gunshot wounds.
She was such a kind-hearted person. She could light up a room and could always bring a smile to anyone's face. Martise Fuller ruined it all.
Also, Her mother, Stephanie, positively identified Fuller as the one who she confronted on the second floor of her house and who afterwards shot her as she attempted to hide. Stephanie discovered Kaylee later, lifeless and lying on the floor of her bedroom. For the murder of Juga, the judge handed down a sentence of life in prison. Additionally, Fuller was charged with an extra count of battery by convicts for his.
I be thinking like, yo, every single time I hear shit like this, I be thinking like niggas like this be the fucking worst, bro. Like a dude that can't handle rejection or a dude that can't handle their temper. That should be the weakest trait I see in any man, bro. Like I remember growing up, dudes used to proudly say, yo, I got anger issues. Yo, I got a temper. Don't play with me. And they always seem to think that that shit was intimidating to other people. But bro, you a crash dummy. A man that can't control his emotions is useless to society, bro. Everything is like I tell people, half of life is mental. Maybe 70%. Y'all can give me the numbers, but half the shit that we go through in life is all mental. It's not what happens to you, it's how do you respond. It's always gonna be how do you respond. What the hell could have triggered you to respond like this? Where you want to take out someone and they mother for what? It's just the weakest trait. And I bet you at that time he felt like a gangster. I bet you at that time he thought he could get away with it. And now look at him, huffing and puffing. Huffing and puffing, bro.
His participation in a criminal act in prison.
You do not stand before this court with a damaged childhood. You don't have a history of mental illness. I don't have any ability to trust that you will never commit these acts. You are a very dangerous and a damaged human being.
I cried openly when I read Nick Juga's letter. I did that because this is a man who has spent his entire professional life protecting this country and protecting all of us as individuals.
I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
The Darrell Brooks case was an interesting one because the crime was horrific, but it wasn't all that shook the surrounding witnesses.
Safety with deadly weapon. What? Hold on. My fault, y'all. 70 counts of first-degree reckless endangering safety with deadly weapon and 6 counts first-degree intentional homicide. My son was on a mission. My son brought GTA to real life, bro.
Because the crime was horrific, but it wasn't all that shook the surrounding witnesses.
Interruptions and disruptions.
There were 6 fatalities and many injuries from this tragedy, but his actions inside and outside of the courtroom are just as horrific. The prosecution showed proof that Brooks intentionally drove into the crowd. In a criminal complaint, an officer is reported as claiming that when he stepped in front of Brooks's vehicle and told him to stop, Brooks just gazed straight at him and seemed to have no emotion on his face.
Do you know why the vehicle was beeping its horn?
I imagine that the driver was angry and wanted to get through the crowd.
On his social media accounts before the violence, Brooks had advocated for the use of force against police officers and against Caucasian individuals. According to reports, Brooks allegedly referred to himself as a terrorist and a killer in the city.
Well, I got one ear that work, and I heard that.
This is to benefit you so that you understand
Ain't none of
your
this to benefit me,
witness
so let's
has
be
a
clear about
prior
that.
record.
After 2 days of testimony from victims and family members, Judge Jennifer Dorough imposed a mandatory sentence on Darrell Brooks. He was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
Frankly, Mr. Brooks, no one is safe from you. This community can only be safe if you are behind bars for the rest.
Bro, and it's just shit like this. Like, this man gets behind a SUV and sees a parade of people minding their business. I think this was around Thanksgiving or Christmas. Your foot traffic is causing me to be delayed wherever I'm trying to go, so I'm just going to drive through you. And it's like, it's certain things like that you just can't fathom because there is no explanation. But I always say to myself, all right, you do this. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? What is the point of spending the rest of your life in prison? Someone please explain that to me. Because there's no way you're going to run over 12 people and just walk away scot-free like, all right, just another day, bro. Like,
of your life.
Cloud Tex MacGyver, age 79, is being charged with felony murder in connection with the death of Diane MacIver and faces a sentence of life in prison.
The court saying that the jurors should have been able to consider a lesser charge and that they heard evidence that they shouldn't have. There was never any dispute that MacGyver shot his wife. The question at trial was whether he meant to.
On the evening of September 25th, 2016, a close friend of Diane MacIver was driving the couple's Ford Expedition. The three of them were returning home from the MacIver's horse property. On their trip, Carter takes an exit in the middle of downtown Atlanta to avoid traffic on the freeway. And a short time later, MacIver fired the pistol, hitting his wife in the back of the head.
But if I might just state it very directly, because I know she's here, I feel her presence as I speak to you. Darling, you have brought me more joy and fulfillment than few men on this earth have ever known. Thank you, and until we are together again.
In June 2022, the Georgia Supreme Court overturned the conviction for murder, stating that the jury should have been given the opportunity to charge him with the lesser crime of misdemeanor involuntary manslaughter. The Supreme Court did not overturn his conviction for influencing a witness, even if it did overturn several of his previous convictions. Cloud Tex MacGyver was found guilty in 2018 for felony murder in connection with the death of his wife, Diane MacIver.
Shit goes to show you, bro. Life in prison don't discriminate. This man don't got nothing but 2 weeks left in his own life expectancy, and he about to spend the rest of his dying days locked up. Like, wow.
He did indeed end up facing that sentence of life in prison.
I didn't ever hear you say you're sorry for what you did. To me, that silence speaks volumes.
The verdict reads, we the jury find the defendant Kevin Dean Eastman guilty of murder in the first degree after deliberation.
A man from Greeley who was charged with murdering 2 individuals in 2020, one of whom was a well-known trumpet player in the Greeley area. He was a mainstay in the Denver band, the Movers and Shakers. According to the Larimer County Sheriff's Office, the body of Stanley Scott Sessions was discovered on February 10th, 2020 in Bellevue.
Scotty and the brass section brought a smile to the faces of band members and countless audiences. He brought a whole new dimension to our stage and our performances. He would take an ordinary song and light it up. It became extraordinary when Scotty played it. There was a profound empty spot on the stage of our performance on February 10th, 2020, and that spot will forever remain empty on our stage.
6 days after Sessions' death, Eastman was taken into custody in connection with the incident, and a search warrant was carried out at a residence as part of the inquiry. Shockingly, the corpse of Heather Franks was discovered by deputies as they were searching the residence. After a trial lasting almost 3 weeks, Kevin Eastman was found guilty.
We the jury find the defendant Kevin Dean Eastman guilty of tampering with physical evidence.
It was determined that he was responsible for 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of tampering with a human corpse, and 2 counts of tampering with physical evidence.
The court is going to sentence you to a life sentence in the Colorado Department of Corrections without the possibility of parole.
Another one bites the
Judge
dust.
Marcelo
Pack 'em up.
Kopkow of the World District Court handed Eastman 2 consecutive life terms, as well as an extra 27 years in custody of the Colorado Department of Corrections. He won't be getting out anytime soon.
Crazy thing is, I don't ever try to act like my shit don't stink, because I can remember being young, man, being young and really dumb and not really having guidance in life. So, you know what I mean? You hang around the rough crowd, you hang around friends that make you make poor decisions. I've been arrested a few times, I'm not gonna lie. My shit stink. You know what I mean? But it's all been misdemeanor, stealing, theft, and shit like that. I had to learn the hard way. But there was always a part of me that was just like, you know what? I ain't playing with guns, I ain't killing nobody, and I'm not gonna jeopardize anybody's health despite my own ignorance, because I was still young, you know what I mean? But the fact that most of these cases, I'm gonna keep it a beam. The fact that these mofos are 50 and above, it's like, what do you say to that, bro? It's not like y'all don't know any better. Y'all just don't care. I mean, I don't know what it is about life sentences, but y'all mofos love hearing that shit. That's one thing I never want to sit across the judge and hear come out his mouth. Life? Nah, bruh. Just take me out. Just pack me up, bro. Cause I've seen glimpses of prison cells. That's all I need to see. I don't need to know how it smell. I don't need to know how it feel like. I don't need to experience nothing. From a distance, I already know what's up. Apparently, these guys love it in person, so we gonna give them what they asked for. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. This is the most brutal life sentence of 2022. I'm gonna holler at you guys in the next video. Mamba out, man. Like, be safe out here. Most importantly, be smart.